Hello everybody, this is Sarnith, and welcome to a Civ6 duel in Rise and Fall between Clan TDF's Auguthy and Clan Scrap's TaskForceFish. If you're watching over on YouTube Live, you will find all the map settings in the description below, along with what mods are being utilized for this. And if you are over on Twitch, those settings are Pangea, map size Duel, New World Age, Balanced Start Location, Resources Abundant, Ancient Era Start. The choices for Civs were an all-pick situation. Because Auguthy challenged TaskForceFish, Auguthy had to pick Civ first, and he chose Scythia, while the challenged player TaskForceFish chose to play Khmer in response to that. Have a pretty good treat for you guys today. This is a match between two very skilled players in the CPL community. Taking a quick look here at the spawns, a little more in depth here. Take a look at TaskForceFish's Khmer Empire here, settling his capital on a Plains Hill. There it has a nice Plains Hill sheep next to him, marble just below. A nice rainforest there, as well as there, make some good chops later. This is a Plains Hill as well. This forest here will be good for a chop as well with Magnus. He'll really be utilizing that heavily. Choosing to scout west here, he does have a 4-wheat floodplain there. And that's going to be amazing for growing his city if it gets grabbed by culture. It does have horses below the capital, and some pretty good luxes and resources in the surrounding area. Now that being said, quite a bit of flat land to the north. Only one settle will be along the river. He'll have to go coastal, and he does have tundra close by as well. So he's definitely going to be looking to settle off this way towards the lake as well as north where all of these hills are. Does have an Uluru up in the northwest that he has yet to discover, along with the Ark here if you haven't already noticed. Meanwhile, in the east side, Auguthy Scythia, choosing to settle on a Plains Hill as well. Look at that, horses nearby, trademark of the Scythian Empire there. Does have 2-2 Plains Hill sheep as well. Cotton grabbed almost immediately. Has considerable chops as well. Has 2-2-1 rainforests and 2 woods as well. Does have another one down here, but these are flat lands, so it will hurt him a little bit production-wise by chopping these flat tiles down. Beautiful 4-food rice here. Now he does have a better immediate settle, because he could settle over here onto the splat desert tile. Now, he probably won't, so he can turn it into a mine. He had settle here to turn on the settler lens for all of you guys. There you are. As you can see, his choices are pretty good looking at where to settle this second city. Has a long river here. Not the best land in the south. In the north does have a much better spread and diversity among his hills. Has some good stone here. Can chop the flat stone, of course, but this hill stone will be worth putting a quarry on. Same over here, really. A lot of plains. Flat plains aren't necessarily bad. They're still 1 food, 1 production. Has some cattle up here, more hills, plenty of woods to chop up north, even up here to the northwest. So he'll have a very nice time in his immediate area. He does have the military city-state on his side though, and there are only 2, not 3 city-states, because as you can see, 2 of the mods we're using, Better Balanced Start by Waza and Codenaw's Better Balanced Game, which modify the game slightly. We had to remove 1 of the 3 city-states in order for everything to fully function properly, which both players were very happy to commit to try out this Better Balanced Game mod by Codenaw. It's gotten quite a bit of praise from the community as a whole. That being said, we do have 2 scouts coming out for task, coming into the start of turn 10 already. 2 scouts as well for Auguthy, his warrior up far up to the north there. Meanwhile, Task exploring his backlands here. He's going to be pretty happy with what he finds. Definitely nothing bad, nothing to scoff at back here. This backlands will make some excellent back settles for him in the mid to late game. Auguthy, however, will be pretty much settling entirely northern, as his landmass is very more directionally shaped instead of outwardly. Task has the larger landmass, but his patches of desert are larger, so he does have to work around those. So that could swing in Auguthy's favor, as his power will be more consolidated. Builders and traders won't have to spend as much time moving to get to their destinations, which means quicker reinforcements for his troops overall, and just faster tile improvement, which will add up over time. Speaking of which, we do have the first settlers coming out, and nothing for Task yet. It seems he is a little bit behind in terms of cracking out that first settler. Where will you be going? Choosing to head onto the 2-1. Bringing up the settler lens here. Be interesting to see where he goes. For those of you watching on Twitch.tv, YouTube Live, or over on Binks.tv, welcome to the match, and I hope you're having a great time, because this is going to be a wonderful match between two very skilled players. First holy site coming down for Task over on turn 13, choosing to rush out of religion, and there is the settler. Builder coming out for Auguthy in the meantime, going to start cracking out some tile improvements there to really make the most of his population. Only sitting on population 2 at the moment, Task sitting on population 3. Task Force choosing to focus more on food than production at the moment. Auguthy going to focus on improving that sheep, going to make the most of these tiles early on. Remember, the earlier on that you invest with these builders, the larger the dividend. For example, improving the tile may only add 1 production or 1 food, depending on what you're improving. But that difference of 1 does add up over the turns. So in 10 turns, that extra 1 food or 1 production has generated 10. So over a long game like Civilization, and even the shorter ones like Duels, those can provide very quick returns. Second city gets thrown down by Auguthy there. As you can see, he chose to settle on the 2-1. That being the case, he does have this flat stone here, has a good rainforest to chop both there and there. But otherwise, the city does not have much in the way of tiles to really improve to generate a lot of raw production. However, in its surrounding area, you can see there are hills for it to grab. Choosing to throw down a monument, that will be the first improvement. Hey hombre, how's it going, man? Welcome to the match. Interested to see exactly where this settler is gonna go. This delicate arc is going to provide a lot of gold and faith for Task Force, who did opt for an early holy site. That's what you see being built right there. He does have 2 faith natural wonders here, or at least faith additives, and he does have a holy city-state here in Jerusalem. There is the war declaration. Scouts have met each other, and here comes the combat. Builder scooting on over to those horses. However, there is only, I believe, oh, nope, Jerusalem has a horse. But other than that, Task has the horses this game. Our Scythian player doesn't. He's going to need to either forcibly suzerain Jerusalem, or he's just going to have to make encampments everywhere in order to produce these cavalry class units. Only one horse on his side of the map. However, with Task opting into a holy site like this, he is going to have a harder time squeezing in encampments if he wants them. So that could encourage our Scythian player Auguthy to really commandeer all of the generals this game if Task lets him get away with it. And there's another holy site from Task really pushing that early religion, wanting to make the most of that early game bonus. That being said, there's the improvement for the horses there for Auguthy. Taking a quick look at the demographics, it's still super early, but Auguthy has made monuments, as you can see, whereas Task has not, and this difference of 2 doesn't seem like much. However, if you look at the civic tree, foreign trade requires 20 culture to complete in that tier. Same with craftsmanship, so that difference of 2 cuts down a lot of turns on completing these early civics. So taking that early gambit of pushing out the monuments for your extra culture bonuses does heavily impact your early game, and we're going to see Auguthy really commanding quite a lead in terms of these civics completed. He will get to political philosophy first. He'll get early empire first, which means he is going to be cranking out settlers with that bonus production faster than Task Force. Scout completes on turn 20. Another settler coming out for Auguthy as well. Builder scooting on over to the woods. He must be gearing up to grab that governor. That being said, he does have plenty of other tiles to improve in the meantime instead of leaving that builder be. Khmer has taken Goddess of the Harvest, so chops will start yielding faith for him. And with Magnus, that is a ton of faith. And don't forget, when Khmer completes a holy site, they do culture bomb surrounding tiles. And look at that, another district coming down. Will be our first campus of the game. That being said, Auguthy poising up his units to try and force Task back. Task does get this scout to its second promotion, though, as these units start to move forward. He doesn't know the warrior and other scout are there. Ancient Era ending in 9 turns. How are the players looking? God of the Forge picked up by Auguthy here. Gonna take that extra production bonus for those early units. Task Force opting to invest a little bit with these shrines in order to make the most of Khmer's bonuses with them, in addition to really trying to make the most of that early religion. We'll have to see what choices he takes. He's sitting at 2 points a turn for now, but that other holy site isn't up yet. That being said, it does just finish this turn as it culture bombed those tiles. Oh, and there you go. Scout on the hill will see the warrior. Doesn't know about the other scout yet, but these scouts will be coming to reinforce, and he does have another scout at 2 promotions. If these scouts get their 3rd promotion, it is going to be impossible for Auguthy to push through until he gets some horses over here. Completes the campus super early. Some real early investments coming out of Task here. Does know he is in fact protected by the shape of the landmass. Scouts moving into position here to forcibly contain this. He won't be able to. Auguthy will not be able to swing around the top side of this mountain without declaring war on Jerusalem. Task's warrior is on its way back and up to the north, though. And with that, Auguthy will discover Jerusalem. Third city comes down for Auguthy, our Scythian player here. Choosing to make the coastal city here. Look at that beautiful 3-1-1 fish on those reefs. Absolutely beautiful. Some excellent tiles here to work with. Not only has the T on the hills here, has woods to chop, both rainforest and regular, and the 2 hills right above it. So he could chop this, drop a harbor, and get the commercial for the really sick 3-way adjacency. But we will have to wait and see what they choose to do. That being said, all 3 scouts are now fortified. It looks like Auguthy is going to poise up just to hold the line there and make an aggressive front. But behind this, he will be able... Oh, chooses to hit... Task chooses to hit the scout. Oh no! 3rd promotion on the scout here. That could be absolutely devastating. That will have the plus 20 combat strength promotion. It doesn't look like this scout is ready to promote just yet. Hey man, thank you so much for the support. Hope you're enjoying the content. Hey Sugar, how's it going? You know what? I don't know why he picked Khmer. All I know is that he got challenged, Auguthy had to pick Civ first, and this was his response. So we're going to see the power of this religious play. Actually, in this mod, all of the really over-the-top civs got nerfed a little bit, and the underwhelming civs haven't been buffed yet. That's still something in the process, in the works, so to speak. As this mod is in its early alpha stages, but the players are happily testing it. Really wanted to check it out. Get into the real meat and potatoes of it all. That being said, if you are interested in checking out this mod, check the workshop for Better Balanced Game. It will have a CPL icon and is written by Code Na. That being said, this promoted scout does kill off Auguthy's scout down here. Auguthy's scout in the north does get its 2nd promotion. Warrior fortified on the hill. And Task choosing just to run this scout forward. We will need to see some military units come out of Auguthy to deal with this scout, or it's going to run rampant. Does have a trade route going up to Carthage here, as he did get the military city-state meat. But remember, as the observer, I steal all of the first meat, so there's no overwhelming advantage involved for players in the game. That being said, 4th settler coming out for Auguthy here, scooting forward. It will definitely have the city count advantage for now. We don't have a 3rd settler out for Task, but with that 3rd promoted scout, he does have quite a bit of pressure on the board. Auguthy is going to be forced to respond and react with some units. And it looks like Magnus, I'm assuming, is the first governor here. This will get chopped shortly. Just waiting to establish presence, I'm sure. Meanwhile, in his second city, he does have a builder improving tiles here, as you can see. Taking a look back home, we do have another campus coming online. Task really choosing to dig in. All I know is that Scythia is OP, please nerf. They did get nerfed with this mod, and one of the nerfs includes them not producing 2 light cavalry units at a time. All the numbers are still being tweaked. Their code now is changing things like Defender of the Faith and Crusade. They only provide a +5 bonus instead of 10. Some wonders have been nerfed as well that were way over the top. Even Apadana has been nerfed. So there's a lot of changes in the works. I'm very excited to see what Codenaw chooses to do with this mod. And it's great to have the opportunity to showcase it in a format like this. Hypatia is the first scientist, and right now, on only 1 point a turn, but Task is uncontested, and he will have the Prophet next turn, so we'll get to see his religious choices. Isn't that what Scythia is all about? Here's the thing with Scythia, with that, right? Is that Scythia also gets a combat bonus against wounded units, and they also heal on kill. And that is incredibly powerful. It's very easy for a Scythian player to get out of hand, even without making double of a light cav unit. And there is the Prophet moving over to the Holy Site, so we won't see it till next turn. It ran out of movement. I'd really like to see a trader come out here to build that road. Because this is some ugly terrain here. Would really help speed things along with his infrastructure. That said, he does have 2 builders in his capital. Improving tiles, he does have a governor established. I'm assuming Magnus with the woods that he has around. So he will be chopping a bit. Another builder coming out in this second city, and there goes the Prophet. We will give it a little bit, and we will be checking to see what his religious choices were. Meanwhile, over in Auguthy's empire over here, as Scythia is moving that settler further north. We'll check the lens in just a moment. Has a builder moving to improve the 2-2 hillstone there. That'll make that a very nice 2-3 tile. He does have a builder here in position to chop this woods when in time is right. He is going to have quite the city count lead. But remember, building tall in Rise and Fall is better than it was in Vanilla. These 2 cities of Task, his core 2 cities, are going to have their campus and holy site already established, so he won't need to worry about focusing on districts as much for those cities. Oh, choosing not to go fish scouting with this 3rd promoted scout is actually keeping it on standby. Same with the scout here by Jerusalem, as well as the one on this Rainforest Hill. Choosing to contain Auguthy's scouting units there, instead of going to scout around himself. So he's really utilizing the pressure from this, and this is why this is important, what he's doing. Even though I myself would have fallen for this too. I would have sent this scout forward to go scout and go mess with Auguthy. But what Task has decided to do is to keep it here. It can be seen by the warrior. Auguthy knows it's still there. But because of that scout having that 3rd promotion of the 20 combat strength, it is forcibly containing Auguthy's remaining scouting units. And look at that, moving it even more aggressive positions here. He is trying to force him out. And he does take quite a bit of damage here, but that is because he did attack onto a fortified warrior on a hill. And for those of you who don't know, that is a +12, that is a +9, I'm sorry, modifier in total. 6 from the fortification, and 3 from the hill's defense modifier. And this scout down here got its 3rd promotion as well. This is incredibly dangerous for Auguthy. But because his scouting forward units are contained, Task is free to be as greedy as he likes. And that is what is so important about the play decision he has made with this early game. By preventing his opponent from being able to do any scouting on him, he's able to just make as many builders, be greedy with districts, really make the most of the time he's bought himself. Because these early investments will yield earlier results than if you had made them later. And look at that, we do have the first horse coming out. No suzerains just yet. Auguthy has settled on a horse, likely as capital, since we never saw it. So that being the case, this does change the ballgame a little bit for Auguthy. We'll have to see whether or not he chooses to kill or keep Carthage. Carthage's suzerain bonus is actually rather useful. Land combat units are 20% cheaper to purchase with gold per encampment district building in the city. Now, this doesn't seem like much, because people don't like buying units with gold. They like just pushing out units and upgrading them with gold. But with Carthage as a suzerain, if you're an encampment-heavy player, so having the encampment, okay, then you have the barracks or the stable, that's 20%. The armory, that's another 20%. So this all adds up quickly over time. And that is what is important about this. And as you can see, Auguthy's scouting units are completely hamstrung here. And he does finally have that trader out from his second city heading back home. And let's take a look at the religious choice that Task has made. Fishing for lulls, choral music, shrines and temples provide culture equal to their faith output. Alright, so every shrine he has, Task, will also benefit his culture. So a shrine gives 2 faith, right? For those of you who don't know, I will pull it up for you. Oops, tech, I'm sorry. Provides 2 faith. But because of his religious choice of choral music, it will also give 2 culture. So having that shrine is like having a monument. Well, it also benefits temples. So this means another 4 culture from having that temple. So this really does promote making religious play in Rise and Fall, especially because culture is very important. We all know this. So for those of you who are newer to Civ, who may not remember, civil service used to give a card called meritocracy, and that made all of your districts provide culture. You put out 1 culture per turn per district in each of your cities. Well, that's gone. That's tied to a golden age choice that you can make as a dedication. So being able to make your faith generate culture through choral music is actually incredibly potent. And we do have some horse archers coming out here as well. Ooh, chopping them out. Can you check the stats of the players? Sugar, what do you mean by that? Do you mean the demographs? I can happily do that for you. I usually check every 10 to 20 turns, depending on the stage of the game. And religious beliefs. Absolutely, we covered pantheons earlier, but you missed it. TaskForceFish did opt for Goddess of the Harvest, which with the better balanced game mod is 50% instead of 100%. For those of you who are unaware, Goddess of the Harvest grants you faith equal to whatever you chop out. When you chop a tile with a builder, whether it's woods, rainforest, copper. Now that's been nerfed to 50% because of how potent it can be. That said, with Magnus and the city making that chop double value, that's still an incredibly worthwhile pantheon to choose. Auguthy has opted for God of the Forge, which has also been nerfed with this mod to a 25% bonus instead of a 50% bonus to production towards ancient and classical era units. That said, he has a massive horse and horse archer army moving forward here. And we are going to see, this is the strength of Scythia. Now imagine, it's nerfed in the mod, but on current content, all these horses and horse archers you see, double them. Because he'd be making them 2 at a clip. That said, I am going to pull up the demographics for you guys here. Science, 10 a turn coming out of TaskForceFish and 10.2 from Auguthy. So even though Task has built campuses and Auguthy hasn't, he's keeping up in science, actually 0.2 turn ahead, because of his population. Because population counts towards your culture and science as well. Take a look at culture now. Auguthy at 10.5 and Task at 9.3. The same argument there. And the thing that's what's really augmenting Task's culture are those shrines. Otherwise he would be drastically behind. Because it'd only be a difference of 4 because he has the 2 shrines. But 4 culture a turn is massive in the early game. Even more horses coming out here. Builder chopping a builder in the capital. And it looks like he has decided to move Magnus up to one of these 2 cities. And for those of you who are unaware, there is no hard-coded observer mod. I am using a mod from the Steam Workshop called the Host Spectator mod in order to cast this match for you guys. And that is what reveals the map to me. Unfortunately, I can't see what players are building, what techs they're specifically doing, civics they're specifically doing, or exactly their governor choices or what they're building. But a fair amount of speculation can be applied. That said, we do have Magnus definitely in the capital, as we got 2 settlers churned out incredibly quickly right after this one. Auguthy has declared war on Carthage, so he will be taking this for himself. Does have units already in an excellent position here. Horse archers taking shots on the warrior. Kills it off, gets the builder for free, and is moving his units further into position here. Is moving his horses forward to try and put a little bit of pressure on Task to force him away from simming, because he is almost halfway to Hypatia. Libraries provide +1 science, and it instantly makes a library in the campus you use her in. For those of you, again, who are unaware or are newer to Civ6, what a library does is it makes your campus provide an additional +2 science a turn. But with Hypatia, all of your libraries give 3 science a turn instead of 2. So it's very easy to see how over 4 or 5 cities that difference of 1 science makes a big difference over time. As you've seen, we've gone over how important a difference of 1 can be over multiple turns in a longer game like Civ. Definitely interested to see where Task chooses to put his 3rd, 4th, and 5th city. This one, the 3rd city, is going to be coastal for sure. We do have a builder coming out, though. That said, we do have our governments being taken oligarchy by our Scythian player and our Khmer player as well. That choral music really making a big difference to our Task can keep up with the civics here. If our Scythian player Auguthy had oligarchy for several turns over him, it could have been disastrous because of all the bonus experience these horses would be getting. Oof! Cycles out the warrior with the scout here. These are triple promoted scouts, so they have +20 combat strength in all situations. So those are 35 strength scouts base. Once they are fortified on these hills, they will get a +9 to that, so that's a 43. Horses have a strength of 36. So it's gonna be rough. And once the military tradition civic is researched, for those of you who are unaware, their military tradition, you gain flanking and support units, flanking and support combat bonuses, I apologize. And what that means is this scout here would get a +2 support bonus from this warrior and this scout adjacent to it. So that's an extra +4 that's got to be chunked through. However, the inverse also applies. When this horse attacks the scout, he gets a +2 flanking bonus from the warrior. Horses lining up to get more bonuses established. Carthage will fall this turn. And he is starting to make hits onto this scout here. Oof, runs it away. Has to. That combat bonus against wounded units really being showed off here. Scythia, for those of you who are unaware, they do get that combat bonus against wounded units. And it looks like we will start to see these cities come down. Does have archers being made back home, so does recognize the threat here. Does have some excellent places he can choose to settle. I do expect him to settle up here somewhere so that he can get an encampment there to help support his units. And there is the fall of Carthage, just as we said would happen. And that leaves Jerusalem as the last city-state on the map. That said, we do have a commercial hub being built, and Auguthy's capital already has the government plaza up. No additional building made in the plaza just yet. Ancestral Hall, as we saw, that's why he got the free builder for settling that city there. However, Task is going to be pushed back a bit here. These horses have done considerably better against these fortified scouts than was expected. And with that in mind, as we can see, Auguthy is sending reinforcements. That includes these horse archers to help provide some fire support. Some even having promotions, so that's going to be incredibly dangerous. Let's see how our players choose to open the turn. Scouts do re-fortify. Warrior does as well. Another scout fortified behind. Settler still hasn't moved up yet. Archers have moved forward. Another archer coming out here. Getting chopped out by our local builder here. Going to position the camera so that we can keep an eye on things. Oh, Scythia declares on Jerusalem. So it looks like Auguthy is going to be gunning down this city-state as well, taking it as a forward base of operations. Or will he raise it to the ground? We're going to have to find out. Oh, taking a big hit onto the city center there. Angkor Wat goes down. Builder comes out, immediately improves that cattle. Ancestral Hall, absolutely beautiful. Every city you settle, bam, free builder with it. Really helps speed things along for those of you who like to sim. That said, we do have a 5-city Scythia here looking to recover his economy. We are going to take a look at the gold per turn from our players. There's the Kurgan, a unique improvement for our Scythian player. They're adding some faith and gold to these otherwise barren tiles. Horses are wrapping around, though. We could see some ugly times coming Task's way if he can't get rid of these horses. Taking a quick look at our players' resources here. Let's see what they have to work with. Lots of luxuries for our Khmer player. Task 9 a turn, banking 66. Auguthy, our Scythian player, banking 40 at 1 a turn, so he's going to be hurting pretty soon from the upkeep cost. Taking a quick look at our religious spread here. Nothing too crazy going on yet. More archers coming out. Oh, big hits. Oh, gets the promotion off and saves that horse. Another horse does come behind to help clean up that warrior. Auguthy is continuing to push forward against Jerusalem here, really trying to clean up the units that Task has, but he has seen that archer, so he knows there are reinforcements behind this. But Task doesn't know about all of these horses and horse archers coming. Thankfully, Auguthy does not know about this settler out here. Oh, but he might on that hill. That is dangerous. And there is the Scythian heel on kill there. It's just absolutely brutal. Scythia doing Scythian things, absolutely. Hey, Crowbotic, how's it going? Is Scythia nerfed in this? Yes. Scythia does not produce 2 horses or light cavalry class units at a time, so it was nerfed to that degree, but the most potent parts about Scythia have not been taken away, in my opinion, and that is heal on kill. The combat strength bonus against wounded units is really good, but the heal on kill is really what makes me feel they're overtuned. So I'd like to see that reduced in future iterations of this mod. We do have plenty of archers lining up here to try and gun down these horses, but he's got to be careful. Archers are not the best when it comes to taking hits from these units. Look at that. Does the damage, but it was on a hill and at the time fortified, so it just didn't have the damage. Making the most of that beautiful farm adjacency to the holy site. Oh, wow. And look at that. Big hits coming down on Jerusalem from these Scythian horses. We do even have a missionary coming out. Now, most of you guys may not think that's a big deal, but for those of you just joining us, Defender of the Faith was picked up by Task, and as you can see in the mod, it's been nerfed to a +5 bonus, not a +10. And that is a really big deal. I honestly feel it makes Defender of the Faith balanced. What is stopping Khmer guy from making Spearmen? Absolutely nothing. Unless he just doesn't have the tech. We are at turn 44, and our players are at 13.9 and 14.7 science a turn respectively. Almost 20 culture a turn from Auguthy, and only 12 from Task. All of those monuments made in these cities really showing off their strength. Whereas Task is still playing the catch-up game, and if he does not first move making this city with the settler, he will lose it to Auguthy's horse. Will we see the snatch? Oh! Gets the build off. Does have the religion now in 4. So he will have that Defender of the Faith bonus there. Jerusalem falls to the Scythian Empire. Just a highlight for those just joining us. Our Khmer player Task is in a normal age, while Auguthy is actually in a dark age. Plenty of archers getting chopped out here. And a commercial hub going down. That is going to be some beautiful adjacency there. +4. Absolutely beautiful. We do have iron on this tile here. As you can see with the science node. Oh my god. Huge hit from that horse. Oh, another builder coming out. Stonehenge under construction as well. That's interesting. Did have to put that on pause with all this military in his face, though. Will Task be able to generate enough troops to put down these horses, or will he get overrun? He hasn't been able to fight with his Defender of the Faith bonus just yet. Interestingly enough, a Stonehenge is under construction by Auguthy as well, not going to allow the religious play to take over. Spearmen aren't that good from my understanding. So, Robotic, what you may not be aware of... We're going to reject that emergency. Is that in the last patch, Gauge, the policy card, and Oligarchy now benefit anti-cavalry class units. Spearmen, pikemen, pike and shot, and the AT crew, respectively. So the biggest weakness for Spearmen was that they didn't benefit from Oligarchy, and the Gauge policy card that added production never applied to them. So it was really impossible to generate them fast enough. And they just didn't have the combat strength to compete. But that's no longer the case. They're now very worthwhile to make, and you can make them very quickly. We do have horses coming out for Task as well. It is going to be trying to meet this head on. Oh, but will he get his units in position in time? Auguthy is already pretty well consolidated in Jerusalem moving out, whereas Task had a couple of units up here near Task Force 4, but the majority of his units are still moving up from being mass chopped. So he does have his reinforcements, but they're not there yet. This will not be enough to roll him over completely, but how much damage will Auguthy be able to deal? That is the real question here. That said, plenty of work going on back home. This commercial hub did finish working on Stonehenge to secure that religion and deny it to our Khmer player Task. That said, we do have builders getting ready to chop some tiles here. As you can see, they're just waiting for Magnus to show up. And remember, Task has had Goddess of the Harvest. So all of these chops he's been doing, 50% of that chop's value, one half, has been given to him in faith as well. So he could have a massive pool of faith here. Archer's taking some heavy shots here. Oh, does get the missionary in. And that will give him the Defender of the Faith bonus. Why would he build Stonehenge if he already has a religion? To deny it to Auguthy. Stonehenge automatically gives you a profit, assuming you haven't gotten one. But if you build it after getting one, someone else can't build it because you've made the wonder, which will force Auguthy to make a holy site to get a profit for a religion. And because choral music's already been taken as well as Defender, he's taken some of the best simming options as well as defensive options for religion already. That said, there are a lot of wonderful choices as far as religious play goes. So even if you're the second or even third religious choice, there's plenty of goodies to choose from. Archers are moving up onto a firing line here. They do need to get onto these hills, but with that +5 bonus to help him fight against Scythia's combat bonus against wounded units, Task is in a good position here to not take heavy losses. Auguthy might be able to raise Task Force 5. I think he should go for it if he can, just to slow it down and deny the settler. And there is Hipasha there for Task. He will be securing it. Moves it on over to Task Force 2. So, and remember, when Hipasha is used, she also builds a library instantly at that campus. So this campus already has a library. This one does not. And Auguthy has been doing nothing but simming behind this, by the way. Getting districts up, as you can see. Doing some overall improvements on otherwise tiles he just wouldn't use it. Getting some wonderful chops out there as well. Chopped out another settler, and he will be looking to get that settled. And let's see what combat actions our players choose to take here. And Auguthy choosing to really be the aggressor here. But as he hits these archers, he is seeing many more behind it. Oh, takes Task Force 5. I would really like to see a raise here, and that is exactly what he does. Knows he won't be able to hold on to it, but that's fine. He shaved off a city. He can be happy with this. I think going for 4 is a little too greedy. I think he should withdraw because there's so many archers here. And with a horse in the city raising the combat strength, it's going to be rough. He is definitely not taking any more. Putting the scout on the hill for scouting purposes here, he does lose it to an archer, but that did provide him valuable information. That scout was able to see all of these units. And there goes Hipasha being used there. We should see the science per turn get updated next turn, but right now the players are neck and neck at 17 and 17.2 science a turn. For culture, though, Auguthy really commanding lead there with those extra cities down, monuments already up. And 20.9 a turn is beautiful. Now, Task does have 13.9 a turn himself. A difference of 6 may not seem much, but our players, as you can see, there is a bit of a gap already between Task and Auguthy. Auguthy starting to pull ahead. 87 culture total required for this tier that Auguthy is already at. And with that in mind, at the difference of 6, it adds up really quick. Because over 10 turns, the difference of 6 culture is a difference of 60 culture. Another settler coming out of the capital here. And another one chopped out. Auguthy really looking to fill up his lands quick behind this. Playing a delay game. Horse in the city raising the combat strength to 33. Takes a hit onto Auguthy's horse, forcing it to retreat. This one does as well. All of these horses do need to withdraw, or they risk dying next turn. That being said, it's been an absolutely wonderful game so far, being neck and neck. A wonderful push from Auguthy, getting quite a bit of damage done. Possibly should have raised Jerusalem, hindsight being 2020 like that, as Task will be able to either take it or liberate it with this many units at his leisure. And with his religious play, he will probably choose to liberate it. That said, taking another look back home here, still only the commercial hub. Auguthy prioritizing some improvements, getting chops down, placing some districts but not yet completing them. Oh, getting a holy site of his own actually in this forward city. Now, choosing which city to have your holy site, if you're only going to have one as your holy site, as your holy city, your holy city generates 4 times the pressure of any other city in your empire that generates religious pressure. So having it in a more forward city will help combat the pressure being generated by your opponent, especially Task. In this case, his capital was his holy city. Now, as you can see, this gap is so short that in 99 turns, this city will be converted, just passively. But if this city was the holy city, it'd be 4 times the pressure. So it would convert that much quicker. These numbers do matter. Horse is continuing to withdraw. Warrior poising up here. It is going to be quite a long time before a prophet gets picked up by Auguthy unless he can chop out that Stonehenge. And Task is generating 3 scientist points a turn. No real rush to force him out. He has no competition, so he can sit back and take it easy. And he's been forced to chop out a ton of units. These chops could have been used for settlers, builders, for districts, improvements, but they were forced into military units. So the actions taken by Auguthy to force that reaction is still incredibly worthwhile, as long as Auguthy isn't overwhelmed by the response. That said, there is a lot of hills here, a river. It's really messy terrain, so for a unit like an archer that only has 2 movement points, it'll take forever to get over to where Auguthy is. So he is relatively safe over here. He has the time to build up a response. And as you can see, that's what he's doing in a couple of his cities. Has some horses being made in both Carthage and in... you know what? I'm not too sure how to pronounce that. I'm not familiar with Scythia's language and its dialect. I have been trying to brush up on some of it for some of the other cultures. These horses are getting to the front, and they are looking to get aggressive. That said, Auguthy has had plenty of time to maneuver his units, get them fortified up, start healing them up, but these archers are going to be raining down some painful, painful hell on these poor units. Does have some builders still skirting around in his empire. Raising that city did a lot, and Auguthy really got a lot out of this push. Industrial zones coming down. Unfortunately, it is not displaying the players on the technology tree. Probably a side effect of the better balanced game mod alongside the host spectator. Sometimes mods do have issues interacting. We'll have to test it further to check it out. But look at that. A really beautiful setup here. I would love to see a Colosseum get put down by Auguthy at some point in the game. Really make great use of it. He has a very good spread of cities for it. Oh, immediately chopping a horse out of this rear city, sending it up. So he is getting the response force ready. I am curious to see, though, whether or not Auguthy chooses either to reform a defensive line somewhere here on the land bridge, or will he try to go and rescue Jerusalem? I really don't think the horses will get there in time, so he'll probably opt just to hold here and just leave Jerusalem to its fate. And it's going to flip in, well, 526 turns. But no one's going to wait for that nonsense. Oh. That does a bit of a reveal for sailing there. Builders can embark with the sailing technology. So we could see some naval play come out of Task. It is a relatively good map for it, but he hasn't scouted this side of the world yet. The farthest he's been, if you remember, is this one production desert hill. He never scouted past that. So he has no idea what Auguthy's working with land-wise, which is really beneficial because you can see new cities as they pop up through the fog of war. So other than looking at the diplomacy menu here, when you click make deal, or click to make peace when you're at war with someone, you can see their resources, how many cities they have, gold per turn, things like that. And he's going to have to utilize that to see how many cities Auguthy's on. But I mean, look at all of this. Another settler over here could easily get another city down here. As you can see here. That is freshwater on a lake. Beautiful. Easily get some cities here. This city would unfortunately be dead in the water, but Well, that's not true. With trade routes, it could be made very beneficial. Take a look at the line of fire. It looks like an archer took a pot shot on Jerusalem there. The noose is tightening around Jerusalem here as the Khmer forces are beginning to encircle the city. Now this horse, for those of you wondering, this was sent to check to see if any forces got stashed off to the side by Auguthy. And this is something I've said in past matches I've casted. Knowledge is everything. You need to scout. You need vision. Because if you don't know what's going on, you have to assume and guess and speculate. So the more information you have to work on, the more accurate predictions and assumptions you can make. So by taking the time to send this horse out here, he knows there's no extra forces stashed to the side to do something really silly to him later on. Because if you imagine for a moment that, let's say this horse never went over here. He had everything right here. And Auguthy put 6 horses or so back here off to the side. And he waited 10 or so turns after things started moving forward and things were just really in the thick of it. And he just started sliding them down. And all of a sudden, bam, runs through the side through Task Force 2, pillages everything. Maybe even gets a builder or two and deletes them. That would be devastating damage for Task's economy. So, and that's really the showcase of these better players. They take that extra step. They think a little further outside the box. And Stonehenge is almost done for Auguthy. He will need a shrine up in this holy city in order to use that profit, though. Plenty of missionaries coming out. This is the second one, I do believe. For those of you just joining us, Choral Music and Defender of the Faith were taken by our Khmer player TaskForceFish. And Defender of the Faith in the Better Balanced Game mod has been nerfed to +5 combat strength instead of 10. And there is the Stonehenge complete, so he will secure a religion for himself. Plenty of builders run along in the background, and this is another point to make about better higher tier players versus lower, and that is improvements getting done. Having bare tiles with no improvements on them is actually very detrimental. It doesn't sound like much, that +1 or 2, but like we've said time and time again, look at that double settler chop coming out. That +1, that +2 adds up a lot over the course of a game like Civ. And I keep hammering that point because it's literally that important. It makes a huge difference in your gameplay. And as you can see, the forced combat has forced these players, Auguthy being the aggressor, chopping a lot of tiles out for military units, and now he's just hard producing them in the background. And he is sending them forward to reinforce, maybe get a good flank on these archers. And as a response, instead of being able to just sim and improve tiles or chop them for settlers, improvements, whatever, Task has been forced to chop tiles for a military. So a real gambit taken by Auguthy there, and he did shave off this city. And he raised it. That is going to set Task behind. A builder coming out. Task Force 3 doesn't have any production. Can you speak on that? Actually, I can. And right now, looking at the tiles it has a production from the stone, one from the hill. It could have 2 from the jade. Now, warranted, we can't see how the tiles are micromanaged. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. It's 3 tiles away from the city in Task Force 3. When you go into your citizen management section, when you click on your city, you'll see a row of tabs on the bottom. and one of them will look like a person's face. If you click on that, you can see all the tiles available to that city. The highlighted ones are those being worked by people in the city. Now the game automatically assigns it, but you can manually do so by clicking on the darkened faces that aren't highlighted above that tile, and that'll put a person to work there. If there's a lock next to it, then that citizen will never be removed by the automated system from that tile. So you can micromanage your cities, but also if a tile is within 3 tiles of the city, and it belongs to another city, for example this jade, you'll see the word swap above it. So if I'm looking at Task Force 3 and I see the word swap above this jade, I click swap, and then I click the face to highlight it. This 221 jade will now belong to Task Force 3. Its food, its production will go to that city. And because this jade as well is within 3, it could also be getting production from that, which he can afford to do because Task Force 4 has some pretty good tiles to work. The 2-2 deer, the 3-1 cattle. So as you can see, really micromanaging your citizens and flipping tiles to different cities can heavily impact the production, the food, how much the city can grow, or what it can generate and how many turns, if you're willing to take the extra time to micromanage. Now we do see an apostle come out in the background there for task, and we're going to have to see whether or not he will choose to evangelize a belief. Very interested to see what his choice will be. For those of you who aren't as familiar with the religious system, an apostle, when you evangelize a belief, we'll bring up the religious tab here. Oh, we do have another religion. We'll look at that in just a second. This locked belief from the first apostle will unlock. It will kill the apostle to evangelize the belief, but that's the trade-off, and you get to select from a pretty hefty list of other choices. And again, with this blocked belief, with the second apostle. That in mind, we are going to take a look here. We did, unfortunately, miss Jerusalem get seized and liberated. And that does automatically grant task suzerain of the city. And with that in mind, your cities with holy sites exert pressure if they were holy cities. 4 times religious pressure on all cities within 10 tiles. And that's in parentheses there, and I really like this move by Firaxis. And that's to explain what the difference is between a normal city and your holy city. So that means right now, it'll take a turn to update everything. But all of Task's cities will be exerting the same amount of pressure as his capital if they have a holy site there. That is the conditional there. And I do hope that answered your question, Sugar. Thank you for asking. And we will take a look at Auguthy's religious choice here, Jamba. All world wonders provide +4 faith. He is aware of the 2 that Task has, so that's going to give him 8 faith a turn. And church property, +2 gold a turn for every city following the religion. Hasn't evangelized yet. So he has 2 cities following the religion right now. So that's 4 gold a turn that he's getting. You get paid for other people's wonders. Alright, so something to clarify there, Sugar. It said all world wonders. So it doesn't specify ones that you own. He's getting 8.7 faith a turn right now, 4 of which is coming from the Stonehenge. The other 4 is coming from these tiles he's improved. With this 1 faith modifier on it, that's the Quran. Don't know if I pronounced it right. Again, I'm not familiar with Scythia's dialect and language yet. And that adds 1 faith and 1 gold per turn value to the tile that's being worked. So he's not He's not getting any points from the Wonders, any Wonders task is built, which are none at this moment. But we will keep an eye on it to make sure. So I will try to verify the answer to your question, because that may be something changed in the mod. I don't know at this time. And that said, he does have a missionary up here to convert Jerusalem. Heavy chariot hype. That's right, guys. We're going to have a knight follow-up. I do hope to see a settler scoot out forward here. Not many good tiles here. He'll have to be quite aggressive with the settle. Oh, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that Prime subscription. And the Apostle has actually moved forward. Very interesting. Oh, thank you so much, Robotic, for the follow and for the Prime sub. I really do appreciate all the support, you guys. Thank you so much. Robotic, it's payday. We bought a lot of junk food today. And there we go. Is converting the city, moving the Apostle up as well. And if he purges some heresy with this, he's going to be able to make Inquisitors. And that's going to deal with any religious nonsense that comes his way from Auguthy. That's what I do with my money, toys, and candy. I believe it, man. Again, a huge thanks to all of you out there that have swung by, whether you've just gotten here or have been here since the beginning of the match. I do appreciate your support, taking the time out of your day to swing by. It means a lot to me. And a huge thanks to you guys that just subscribed. I really do appreciate that. Taking a look at some of the later cities that have been produced by Auguthy here. We do have plenty of improvements here. Something on the 2-2 there in Seven Brothers. And that is a beautiful 2-food, 5 gold cotton. It feels pretty good to be back in the saddle, Robotic. It's been about 2 to 2.5 months since I've cast a match, and I gotta admit, it feels really good to be back. Oh, heavy hit! Horse has to cycle out. He's going to have to be... Oh, gets the promotion. Badly needed. Otherwise, Task could have first moved that horse and killed it with that archer there. Oh! These archers that got those +1 promotion, they do have bonus combat strength against land units. And as you can see, it is devastating. This horse is very likely to die next turn. But behind this, we do have a lot of districts coming down. Another campus as well. We're going to try to make good use of that Hypatia. Ooh, pyramids coming down under construction. Oh, and we do have some harbors. Oh, wow, that adjacency is going to be beautiful. So as you can see, it's a +3 harbor right now, because it shares adjacency with the city center, which counts as a major district adjacency, as well as the holy site and the campus. As you can see, the battle line has been reformed up here. We haven't really gone over this, but Auguthy did choose to send these horses forward. And with that, he's trying to apply extra pressure to Task. And just like earlier this game, he wants to put Task on the back foot, force the military reaction out of him, so that he can make Task use more resources for military units than he's used. And why that's important is because while this is all choked up, Auguthy is free to continue to sim up, get ready for a night timing, and that is exactly what these chariots are going to be for. He's going to try and choke this up with some basic tier units here. And then he's going to try and cycle it out with, all of a sudden, these knights will show up out of nowhere. Oh, okay. Lava Pura being put down up here. Now this is 2 tiles above where we had the city prior. And it looks like due to some scouting, when he sent this knight up and around, he's changed his mind exactly where he wants to place the city. And this is exactly why this 2 food grassland, this is a beautiful settle. Not only do you have the 2/2 woods, the 2/1, a horse nearby, you have this beautiful hill marble. That's going to get mined, and so is this one. And with that in mind, sure, he's not going to have a campus right here or here to get that adjacency bonus, but the city will not only grow quickly from all the food, it'll have excellent production. He'll be able to make much more of this, and another reason why it's important that he settled up here is that he got another city on the river. Right here, you have to be at least 4 tiles away if you include this one here. We click our dedication off real quick. Oh, horse gets real bold. Kills off an archer. An opening was made when the horse retreated. However, does kill another horse in the back as a response, but these horses can move forward now. Oh, heavy damage going down here. Does clean it up and is moving forward, but there are more units here for Auguthy than there are for Task, and Task doesn't know exactly how many units are behind all this. Then it looks like this apostle is moving to the background. I would not be surprised if we saw shipbuilding tech come out for Task and this apostle swim across the water to do some preliminary scouting. Back to the point I was making though, is as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and 4 minimum distance for a city. If it was here, this settle would be blocked. 1, 2, 3. You just couldn't happen. And he couldn't get a settle up the river with Jerusalem being that close. So he's not only has he made the most of his situation, he was able to correct a mistake that he really wasn't aware of at the time or wasn't thinking of. Because when he planted this city, he was just trying to deny a steal to the settler. So it wasn't exactly what he wanted, but he's been able to turn this into something very beautiful. And look at that, actually choosing to settle on the marble. So he won't have to work the tile, he'll just get that culture guaranteed as part of the city center. Your city center district tile, which is the city itself, is always worked by a citizen of the populace. You always get that yield. And another city coming down, really layering these in. And with that in mind, he'll also be able to settle over in here. I'd really like to see this settle here, to be honest, instead of the freshwater settle, but to each their own on that. And that's mostly because these flat desert tiles really aren't good for a whole lot. Now, you could argue that, oh, well, I'll place a district on that tile. Then I'm using a tile that's worthless and turning it into something without actually losing a good tile. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You could do that. But unless he settles on this horse here, he loses out on a possibly very lucrative harbor by having the adjacency with the crabs and the city center. And also, by putting the city on this marsh here, this floodplain, these beautiful 2-1 hills, the 2-1 rainforest there, and the 2-1 stone all become immediately available along with the 2-2 horse. So you have To weigh your options and make what the best decision is for what you plan on using it for. And then, of course, just like Task showed us with 5 and 6 here, planning out ahead and saying, well, I won't block a settle if I put it here instead, is really beneficial. And look at that, really making something good out of this. Campus is right here, commercial hub there, that provides a really good adjacency. I would love to see either a campus here for Task Force 6, or here in a commercial hub here. Tons of builders running around for Task behind this. He is not going to take the bait from Auguthy. He's saying, I don't care about your horses. I'm not going to fall behind the sim game here. But Auguthy says, that's fine. I'm going to hit you with knights. If you're not going to take the bait, I'm going to hit you anyway. Koloba goes down here in the tundra. And just as before, very likely flipped this 1-4 mine into Koloba to give it some production. Take a look at the demographics. We are at turn 62 already. 27 science a turn coming out of TaskForceFish's Khmer. Auguthy's Scythian Empire at 23.8. The difference is very small, and now that we are further along the tech tree, that smaller difference is meaning a lot less than it did in the early game. Because it requires more and more science to get these totals up. 195 total for stirrups here. Looking at the culture game, Auguthy at 32 a turn. And 28.8 for TaskForceFish, really making the most of his religious choice choral music, making that shrine and temple generate plenty of culture alongside the faith. And this is actually Hanging Gardens. It has the same beginning animation as Pyramids for its place down. And it does just now complete this turn. $31.6 faith a turn to Auguthy's 10.9. So a religious war, if it happens, is not going to be in Auguthy's favor. Not only does Task have all of this extra faith being generated on a per turn basis, he also took Goddess of the Hunt. Now for those of you just joining us, Goddess of the Hunt has been nerfed with the Better Balance game mod to a 50% bonus instead of 100%. And what that means is that whenever a tile is chopped, whether it's woods, copper, quarry, doesn't matter, he gets faith equal to half of what that chop's value. So if a tile chops for 100, he will be getting 50. I just did sugar, but if you just missed it, I have no problem doing so again. TaskForceFish at 31.6 faith per turn, and Auguthy at 10.9. Task having 5 converted cities, and Auguthy with 2. Can he just kill religious units with military units? Absolutely, but it does take an action now, Ombre, if you're not familiar with how that changed. Now what that means is, in the past in Vanilla Civ6, you could take military units and just literally click move to walk on top of any religious unit like a builder or a settler would, and you just kill it. Well, now you have to move onto the tile and use an action, Purge Heresy. Oh, thank you so much for the bits, Robotic. All the salt of the known world. Oracle gets picked up by Task. For those of you who may not build the Oracle, what it does is you can, when you buy Great People with Faith, it costs 25% less. No idea what bits are for? It's like donating. It's like donating money, but with the bits, it's a different kind of currency. Also, +2 great person points per their type. So, if he has a theater district, it'll get an extra 2 great writer points per turn from that city. And it also generates a culture and faith per turn. But because it's in this city here with a campus, holy site, and harbor, Ooh, another district coming down. Not telling us what it is. This could be a wonder being built. As you can see, 5 scientist points a turn. The old Sid picked up by Task as well. I do apologize for not keeping a better eye on the great people. As for merchants, we have 2 points a turn from both players. Task will get the first merchant unless Auguthy projects it. Yes, the Oracle does affect all great people types. It says any district. And it will begin to generate extra Admiral points as well. Yes, only within that city. Districts in this city provide +2 great person points of their type. For example, great writer points from the Theater Square district. Now, keywords to note in that description. It says generates +2, not an additional +2. There are no bot commands at the time, hombre. I will be re-adding commands to the bot in the future. I am working to have my bots completely redone for the Twitch chat, as well as my full integrated chat system bot that monitors all of that. So I do apologize that it is down for the most part currently, but I'll have it up when it's back. And we do have crossbow tech coming out of Task here. This is a double promoted crossbow on both sides, and these are going to wreak absolute havoc on these horses. There are actually 3 of them right now. With these crossbows, he will be pushing Auguthy back at his leisure. He doesn't really need to heavily invest, but those were expensive to upgrade. That said, looking at Task's land, he has absolutely riddled the ground with districts here. And this is going to be the pyramids under construction. No, Robotic. The base district itself is what's modified in its great person point generation, not its additional support structures. So instead of a campus giving +1 scientist point, it gives +2.
I gave you spring.
Thanks, Robotic. I appreciate that. Plenty of chariots coming out here, but they've moved south from where they were. Are we going to see shipbuilding possibly come out? see a knight upgrade, and we do have some knights already being upgraded. And the worst part is about this, because Task has never scouted Auguthy cities, he won't see the combat strength of the city change with the knight upgrade. So he'll have no idea this is coming. Because usually when units get promoted, you see the combat strength of the cities change over the next turn as it adjusts. But he's not going to see that change. And as you can see, all the cities now have 38 to 45 strength from having the knight tech. But Task doesn't see that. He has no idea it's coming in. Oh, wow. We are actually seeing monarchy be used. So that means monarchy usually isn't picked up. It gives you 3 military slots, 1 economic slot, 1 diplomacy slot, and 1 wildcard slot. But it also gives you chivalry, which is the 50% bonus production card for medieval, Renaissance, and industrial era heavy and light cavalry units. So that means Task will just be able to hard build knights with bonus production. And here we go, we do have shipbuilding from Auguthy. These knights are in the water. He is going to try and bait Task's military all up to the north and completely blindside him with this. $12 gold to turn, 25 banked. He does not have the gold to keep this running. So it will just be these 3 knights for now, but this is going to be one hell of a surgical strike. It could get a lot done. It would be so detrimental if he could raise a city like Task Force 3. Absolutely, hombre. This match has been exciting from the beginning all the way through. We've seen some amazingly insightful plays from both players here on how to make a really strategic hit without losing too much in the process, and also how to respond to it without over-investing. My only recommendation is to summon your inner Aussie man reviews during war. I'll tell you what, Robotic. I'll get with Rolf and I'll work on my Australian accent. Hey Zareth, how's it going, man? Long time no see. I am back in the saddle casting Civ matches. I am casting a Duel right now. And this is between Clan TDF's Auguthy and Clan Scrap's TaskForceFish. Auguthy playing as the Scythian Empire on the east, and in the west is Task Force's Khmer Empire. And we have seen some amazing plays from both of these players. A lot of high risk, high reward plays really being taken here and really showcasing that these are better, higher tier players. Actually, Robotic, Zareth is the one who has redesigned all of my banners, and he is an excellent graphic artist. Oh, thank you so much for the host, Zareth. I do appreciate it. And we do have the emergency galley response. And these knights are going to take a ton of damage from this little galley. Streaming some D3, don't even want to play with. You know what, Zareth? I will be back into D3 with you this week at some point. I do have to work some things around my schedule. And I will for sure link up with you. My wife is finally starting to do better. She was down for the week because she hurt her foot and had to go to the ER. But things are back on the up and up. Big hit onto that knight from that galley. Crossbow's getting into position. You're off on the weekend? For sure, man. I will be on this weekend at some point, and you and I will link up and knock out some D3. Quadream getting chopped out. Task Force to make a heavy reaction here. However, there are a lot of crossbows lined up on these hills. So these knights, this has already been pretty well halted. But with only 3 ships in the water, 4 ships, there's another quadream. It's going to be kind of hard to stop these knights. That said, these two are likely just to hop back onto land. Oh yeah, it was. And as can be seen, just more simming of building up support structures in these districts for Auguthy here behind all this, reestablishing his economy. Task, on the other hand, has been a busy little bee, up to 10 cities now. And he is making districts and improving tiles behind all this. He has been forced to panic out some ships, but he knows he has the upper hand now and is looking to move forward. We are loading into turn 71 here, and these ships are hammering these knights down. He's got to get them out of the water. And that is exactly what he does. Oh, that one is still in the water, though. It is moving knights forward on land, but these crossbows are promoted and moving slowly forward with these horses accompanying them. And this is going to be one hard-pressed issue to deal with. Some traders coming out, Auguthy working on that internal infrastructure. Take a look at our religious lens. Passive conversions going on for Auguthy. No investment into a missionary just yet. That being said, Task has done an excellent job spreading his religion about. Any religious units he makes are going to be trying to convert Auguthy cities. Taking another look at the demographics, turn 71, we do have Task at 44.4 science a turn, and Auguthy at 33, so the difference has been made. That Hypatia grab early on, giving that extra +1 science a turn to all of those libraries, is adding up, and Task has more cities out now, 10 to Auguthy's 9. Also, looking at culture, we do have crossbow shots going on the background as units start to move forward. 38.8 culture a turn from Auguthy and 41.6 from Task. The city count has helped patch the difference, and that choral music making those shrines and temples add culture is really, really helping push things ahead. That said, we do have military strengths of 613 from Task and 449 from Auguthy. Now, warranted, some of these are naval units, and we do have crossbowmen in the water. And he is using these ships to escort his units across the water. And we will definitely be interested to see how this works out. Pyramids gets picked up by TaskForceFish, and I can't believe I just said picked up. My God, English. So bad. However, quadremes and galleys, the galleys chasing the knight out, but these quadremes coming along the edge here are going to be able to take shots at these horses if they come near these coastal tiles. So when these quadremes get into these two tiles, it's going to provide a lot of extra damage around these tiles. It's going to make a difference. One horseman gets particularly brave, but gets shot down for its boldness. Thanks, Robotic. That's what I get for taking 2 months off. I'm rusty. Eras, we are in the medieval era. And Auguthy is in a heroic age. He swung dark to golden. And our TaskForceFish here is in a regular golden era, golden age. Ooh, Quadreme coming out for Auguthy Scythia here. Might try to retake the seas from his Khmer opponent. Take a look at the great people here as things have started to die down. Scientist was picked up in Omar, and that was by Task. Task has controlled all of the scientists this game. However, Auguthy has gained every single merchant. We'll have an admiral coming out soon, 4 points a turn, and it will be the one that makes a fleet out of a naval unit. And that is the naval equivalent to Corps if you're not familiar with naval combat. Oh, only if he's taken Monumentality as his choice as a faith purchasing builders. Oh, plenty of shots going off. Quadremes coming up and taking hits at the knight does promote. Probably is taking barding because of these crossbows. Galleys moving into position, guarding the apostle, which is going to start to purge some heresy out of the holy city. More chops going on in the background. Wonder what's coming out. Nothing got produced in the city. And I did not see any graphic animations on districts there. Oh, more promotions coming out. And we did, I believe, just see another merchant get picked up. Piero de Bardi picked up by Auguthy as well. And we do have more crossbow hits coming out onto these horses, which are still having to be retreating. He just cannot mount an effective defense yet. But once more of these knights come up here, they will smash through these horses, and these crossbows could be in for a rough time. There has been a lot of back and forth so far this game, but Task's simming abilities have really seemed to be outstripping Auguthy's at this point in the game. That said, Auguthy is buying himself a lot of time. He has gotten a lot more commercial hubs up, and that is why he is able to secure all of these merchants. Has double the points per turn generated of his opponent. How many industrial zones does Auguthy have? He has a whopping 1. With a workshop in it. And that is why you see the 3 point per turn generation. And we do have the Great Library picked up by Task. Now backing up slowly like this is going to buy him a lot of time. Now most of this land is becoming flat, so these crossbows are going to close the distance pretty quick. It's not as rugged as it was over these hills. Even more knights getting upgraded. We're going to take a quick look at the gold per turn for each of our players. 10 per turn and 12 banked, but he did just upgrade a unit. 198 and 27 a turn from his Khmer opponent in TaskForceFish. We do have more units coming in through the sea here. It looks like he's going to try and use this archer to get onto this tile to try and bait the knight into getting into range of all these quadremes. That said, we do have that admiral has swung out to Task Force 3, and we'll be providing some bonuses to these units soon. Now, warranted, for those of you who are unaware, the quadreme is a classical era unit, so it will benefit from that admiral. So for everyone who is about to say, well, those ships don't benefit from an admiral, yes they do. The galleys don't, they're ancient era, but the quadreme is a classical era naval vessel. Plenty of beautiful SimCitying here from both players, to be honest, and really the farm here really making the most of Khmer's bonus for having it next to a holy site. There is a campus coming down there with a +1 science. More iron down here in Task Force 9 as well. All of these improvements, as you can see, these 1-4 tiles, they would just be 1-2s otherwise. And it's benefited the city so much over all of these turns, and that's what's allowing him to sim the way he is. That said, Auguthy gets a missionary out because he is tired of the BS from this apostle. He is not going to take his crap anymore. Oh, Archer getting real bold, coming up to that quadreme escort there. Quadreme's taking shots on the horse, and Task poising up on his side of the river. Oh, heavy hits coming out. Both knights and the horse to finish the job. And units moving around the gap here so he doesn't have to worry about the river penalty at this point. If he can break through, which he should be able to, he will deal a lot of damage to these horses. But these knights are injured. This knight likely has the barding promotion, which will afford some bonus combat strength, defending from ranged attacks. So the crossbows won't do as much damage, but remember, these crossbows have 2 promotions, and so do these two. So that barding is only going to negate the benefits that they're bringing to the table from their promotions. But it does make a difference. Every point of combat strength you can squeeze out as an advantage for yourself. It all matters, because you only need a difference of 30 to one-shot a unit. And the same here in Auguthy's land. Look at these beautiful tiles that are being improved. 1-4, 1-2-3. There are plenty more that still need to be worked on, like this iron tile here, for example, this 1-2-1. But having all these tiles improved, it's what's accelerating these players. Now that said, if Auguthy, you watch this replay after the match, you will see that the reason Task got simmed you is because he had more. Chariots coming out for Task. It looks like he'll be responding with knights of his own. And it has caravels on the table. Chose to go for that naval tech. And this is going to be rather damning for this coastal city here. Start of the turn, we do have crossbows making the shots onto the knights, but the knight and horse pushing onto this crossbow almost kills it, but the horse is killed in response. There are just not enough units here for Auguthy to defend this. He needs to get more troops out. Back at home, more builders still running around, still improving tiles. Nothing coming out quite this turn for Auguthy. Things still queued up in production, not quite finishing yet. He needs to get these units out, and he needs to reinforce his front line. But unbeknownst to him, oh, he'll see it now. That Caravel fleet, that is going to hit like a truck. It will have 60 combat strength as a fleet. Again, for those that are a little more ignorant about naval tech, the Caravel has a base strength of 50. And woof. Things are looking grim for TDF's player here. But will he be able to turn it around? We don't know what's being built in these cities. So hopefully we'll see something big swing in the next turn or two. Because the back and forth between these players has just been phenomenal so far this game. It's an excellent watch. Anyone wanting to get into duels, I highly recommend you watch this replay, the replay of this match. Again, if you got And here we go, coming to the top turn, 77 here. Let's see what our players choose to prioritize with their first actions. Promoting the crossbow to tier 3. Crossbow's taking shots on the forward knight. Knight takes a hit on the crossbow, unfortunately doesn't kill it, but is killed by the supporting archers. And Auguthy calls GG. Great game. This was fantastic to watch. Thanks again for all the support, guys, and for everyone who watched. This was a phenomenal game by some great players, and it was a really good pleasure. So thank you guys for coming out. I really hope you enjoyed it. A huge thanks for stopping by and taking time out of your day to watch. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.